Admiral Gray stood at the command center of his flagship, the Star Vanquisher, watching the holographic display of their latest victory. The remains of the human space station Epsilon 7 drifted lifelessly against the backdrop of stars. His four-fingered hand adjusted his ceremonial cape as a smile formed on his scaled face. "Another human outpost falls," he announced to his bridge crew. "Their outer colonies are nothing but debris now. We've pushed them back to their home system." The bridge crew's approval showed in the synchronized brightening of their bioluminescent spots, a traditional sign of celebration among their species. Lieutenant Reed approached with a data tablet, his steps precise and measured on the polished floor. "Admiral, the final numbers from today's battle. 37 human ships destroyed. Minimal losses on our side. Their weapons barely scratched our shields." Gray nodded, satisfaction evident in the slow swish of his tail. The Alliance had spent centuries perfecting their technology, while humans were barely 200 years into space travel. The difference showed in every engagement. "Show me Earth's current defenses," Gray commanded. The holographic display shifted, revealing the Sol system. Earth sat there, a blue marble surrounded by what remained of their fleet. The sight made Gray click his teeth in amusement. The humans had gathered their surviving ships around their homeworld like a mother gathering children during a storm. "Their primitive emotional responses make them so predictable," Gray said to his senior officers who had gathered for the daily briefing. "They retreat to protect their home instead of spreading out to harry our supply lines. This war will be over within a standard month." The intelligence officer, Major Wells, stepped forward. "Sir, we're detecting unusual activity on Earth's surface. Large facilities are being built in their cold regions, and energy signatures suggest massive power consumption. Desperate attempts at new weapons, no doubt." Gray dismissed the concern with a wave of his hand. "They've tried everything. Rail guns, plasma torpedoes, even their nuclear devices. Nothing can match our shield technology." The bridge crew returned to their stations, leaving Gray to study the tactical display. The Alliance fleet stretched across space in perfect formation, over 10,000 ships strong. Each one was a masterpiece of engineering, with weapons that could reduce planets to ash. The humans, in comparison, had always built their ships like their ancient sea vessels, crude, sturdy, and reliant on overwhelming force rather than elegance. "Send word to the Council," Gray dictated to his communications officer. "Tell them the war proceeds exactly as calculated. The humans' emotional attachment to their colonies worked against them. They wasted resources trying to defend every outpost instead of concentrating their forces." As he watched the message being transmitted through faster-than-light channels, Gray reflected on the strange species they were fighting. Humans were fascinating in their contradictions. They had achieved spaceflight while still keeping primitive customs, like sharing their living spaces with non-sentient creatures they called pets. The Alliance had found this practice particularly bizarre, allowing lower life forms into their homes and forming emotional attachments to them. "Prepare the fleet for the final push," Gray ordered. "We'll give them one chance to surrender before we demonstrate our full power." He paused, then added, "And have our scientists ready their studies. I want to understand how these humans advanced so quickly despite their primitive social structures. There may be something worth learning before we end their civilization." The Star Vanquisher's engines hummed as it led the fleet toward Earth. Behind them, the debris of human colonies traced their path of conquest across space. Gray felt pride in the Alliance's methodical victory. They had predicted every human response, countered every strategy, and proven the superiority of their rational, emotion-free approach to warfare. As the fleet entered light speed, Gray had no way of knowing that the humans' greatest strength lay in what the Alliance considered their greatest weakness. Their final battle would teach them that sometimes the most dangerous weapons aren't the ones that can be measured by sensors or stopped by shields. Commander Smith watched Earth's blue curve through the window of Defense Station Alpha. His weathered face showed no emotion as reports of the approaching Alliance fleet filled his screens. Behind him, his officers worked quietly at their stations, coordinating what appeared to be a desperate last defense. "Sir, Admiral Gray's flagship has entered communication range," Lieutenant Rogers reported from her console. "They're demanding our surrender." Smith nodded slowly, his gray hair catching the light from Earth below. "Open a channel." He straightened his uniform and faced the main screen. Admiral Gray's scaled face appeared, filling the display. "Commander Smith, I offer you one chance to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. Your colonies have fallen. Your fleet is in ruins. Surrender now, and we will ensure your species' survival under Alliance guidance." "Admiral," Smith replied, his voice tired and defeated, "we've been expecting your message. Our remaining ships are powering down weapons. I'm transmitting coordinates for your occupation forces." His fingers moved across his console, sending the data. Gray's bioluminescent spots flickered with satisfaction. "A wise choice, Commander. Though I must admit, I expected more resistance from your kind. You humans are usually so emotional about defeat." Smith's lips twitched slightly. "We've learned our lessons, Admiral. Fighting against superior technology would be pointless." He paused, then added, "We request 6 hours to evacuate our civilian population from orbital stations." The Alliance Admiral studied the human commander carefully. "You have 4 hours. Any military movement will be met with immediate destruction." The transmission ended. As soon as the screen went dark, Smith's demeanor changed completely. He turned to his staff, his voice sharp and clear. "Status of Operation Companion Shield." "All units in position, sir," Major Turner reported from the tactical station. "The Alliance's scans are only detecting normal evacuation procedures. They have no idea what's in those civilian transports." Smith walked to the station's main window, looking down at the massive hangars that covered Earth's polar regions, the same ones that had caught the Alliance's attention. Inside those structures, millions of transport pods waited, but they weren't for human evacuation. "Send the signal to all handlers," Smith ordered. "It's time to show the Alliance why humans never travel alone." He touched the small photo on his uniform, a picture of his old German shepherd, Rex, now suited up in K9 combat armor somewhere below. In the vast hangars across Earth's surface, final preparations were underway. Dogs of every breed were being fitted with their specialized combat suits, each one designed to enhance their natural abilities. Cats prowled into their stealth pods, their suits making them nearly invisible. Birds of prey settled into their fighter cockpits, their enhanced intelligence allowing them to understand complex flight patterns. "Alliance fleet holding position just beyond lunar orbit," Rogers announced. "Their sensors are focused on our defensive platforms, completely ignoring the civilian evacuation ships." Smith allowed himself a small smile. The Alliance's greatest weakness was their inability to understand human connections. They saw pets as simple animals, never comprehending the bonds formed over thousands of years of coevolution. Each combat-ready pet was paired with their human partner, creating teams that no computer could predict. "They think we're admitting defeat," Smith said quietly. "They never questioned why we fell back to Earth so easily, why we didn't use our home fleet to defend the colonies." He checked the time. 3 hours until we show them humanity's true strength. On his screen, dots representing civilian transports began moving away from Earth's orbital stations. The Alliance ships maintained their positions, their superior technology ready to crush any military resistance. They never considered that humanity's greatest weapons were the ones that shared their homes, their lives, and their hearts. "Send the coded message to all handlers," Smith commanded. "Operation Companion Shield is go. Release restraints. The pack hunts together." As the message went out, millions of pets in their combat suits waited silently with their human partners. The Alliance was about to learn why Earth's final defense wasn't built on technology, but on trust, loyalty, and love, qualities their logical minds had always dismissed as weaknesses. Admiral Gray watched the steady stream of evacuation pods leaving Earth's orbital stations with mild disinterest. His fleet's sensors showed nothing but standard life signs. humans rushing to escape what they thought would be a devastating attack. "Sir," Lieutenant Reed called from his station, "I'm detecting unusual power signatures from those civilian transports. Probably trying to hide some of their leaders among the refugees." Gray responded dismissively. "Let them run. It will make the occupation easier." He turned to examine the tactical display, showing Earth's defense fleet pulled back to tight orbit around their planet. Then the first pod opened. "Admiral," Major Wells shouted, his bioluminescent spots flashing in alarm. "The evacuation pods. They're not carrying humans." The main screen filled with images that made no sense to the Alliance crew. Creatures of all sizes, wearing what appeared to be advanced combat suits, were pouring out of the pods. Gray stared in disbelief as a German Shepherd, clad in black armor with maneuvering jets, sailed through space straight toward his ship. Its armor glowed with shield technology that deflected his ship's automated defense fire. Behind it came hundreds more, each dog moving with precision that matched any trained soldier. "Impossible," Gray whispered, but the impossible was only beginning. More pods burst open. Cats in sleek dark suits seemed to vanish from sensors, only to reappear inside Alliance ships. Parrots and falcons, wearing miniaturized flight suits, darted between capital ships with impossible agility, their beaks modified with plasma cutters that sliced through hull armor. "Sir, they're everywhere." Reed's voice cracked with panic. "The creatures, they're not acting like animals. They're working in perfect coordination with human commands." Through the chaos, Gray watched as a massive St. Bernard, its combat suit bristling with medical equipment, rescued Alliance crew members from a damaged ship. A team of border collies herded escaped crew back into captured vessels. Even hamsters in tiny mechanized balls were infiltrating ship systems through maintenance tunnels. On the command channel, Commander Smith's voice rang out. "Admiral Gray, I believe it's time we had another chat about surrender." Gray's scales bristled with rage. "You used your pets, your primitive companion animals. This is how you choose to fight." "No, Admiral," Smith replied calmly. "These aren't just pets. They're family, and humanity never abandons family." A golden retriever in tactical armor drifted past the flagship's main viewport, its tail wagging inside the transparent shield bubble, despite the deadly seriousness of its mission. Gray watched in fascination as it used its suit's tools to disable weapon systems with the precision of a trained engineer. "Each handler is neurally linked to their partner," Smith explained. "Every pet out there has trained with their human for years. They don't just follow commands. They understand the mission, they understand loyalty, and most importantly, they understand love, something your logical minds could never comprehend." Reports flooded in from across the fleet. Rabbits in microsuits were chewing through power conduits. Trained octopi in pressurized armor were disabling engines. Even gerbils wearing specialized infiltration gear were disrupting navigation systems. "Your mistake," Smith continued, "was thinking that keeping pets made us weak. You never understood that humans and Earth's animals have evolved together for thousands of years. We don't just keep pets, Admiral. We form bonds that transcend species. And now you face not just humanity, but every creature that has shared our homes and hearts." Gray watched his mighty fleet falling into chaos. Ships were going dark as teams of dogs breached their hulls. Cats had already infiltrated half his command posts. Birds were systematically destroying communication arrays. And through it all, he could see the loving coordination between each animal and their human partner. The Alliance had prepared for every possible human weapon. They had planned for nuclear strikes, for biological warfare, for suicide attacks. But they had never imagined facing an army of pets, turned into warriors not through force or control, but through the power of unconditional love and trust. The age of Alliance dominance was ending, brought down not by superior technology, but by the simple, unbreakable bond between humans and their animal companions. The Star Vanquisher's emergency alarms blared as Admiral Gray struggled to maintain control of his fleet. The bridge crew worked frantically at their stations, trying to counter an enemy they had never trained to fight. Port section breached. An officer shouted. A team of Huskies just cut through our secondary hull. The security feed showed 4 dogs in advanced armor, working together to secure the section. Their human handlers, connected through neural links, guided them with perfect precision. Gray slammed his fist on the command console. How are they beating our security systems? As if in answer, a small black cat in stealth armor materialized on his tactical display, casually walking across the holographic projector. Before anyone could react, it had already disappeared into the ship's ventilation system. "Sir, we've lost contact with the entire 3rd Fleet Division," Lieutenant Reed reported, his scales pale with stress. "The last transmission mentioned something about parrots. They've completely jammed our communications." Through the main viewport, Gray watched in horror as a formation of golden eagles, each wearing miniature fighter suits, executed perfect attack runs on his ship's sensor arrays. Their movements were too random for targeting computers to predict, yet too precise to be natural. "Show me the damage report," Gray commanded. The display flickered to life, revealing the extent of the chaos. Dozens of Alliance ships had gone dark, their systems disabled by infiltration teams of smaller pets. Hamsters had chewed through crucial power lines. Ferrets in microsuits had scrambled navigation computers. Even fish in specially designed aqua armor were disabling underwater cooling systems. A massive explosion rocked the flagship. "Hull breach on Deck 7. Someone shouted. It's a corgi, sir, leading a squad of guinea pigs. They're planting mini-charges at structural weak points." Gray had never seen such tactical brilliance combined with such apparent joy. The corgi was wagging its tail as it directed its smaller companions, all while methodically taking apart one of the most advanced warships ever built. "Sir," Major Wells called out, his voice shaking. "You need to see this footage from the stellar dominance." The screen showed a German Shepherd and its human partner working in perfect sync. The dog moved through zero gravity, as if it had been born there, using its suit's tools to disable weapons while the human provided tactical data through their neural link. Most disturbing was the obvious affection between them. Even in the middle of combat, the handler took a moment to signal "good boy." Another blast rocked the ship. Multiple breaches. Reed shouted, "They're using. Are those rabbits with plasma cutters?" The security feed showed a team of armored rabbits, their natural digging instincts repurposed for spaceship infiltration. "Status report," Gray demanded. "We've lost 40% of the fleet," Wells responded. "The human pet teams are too unpredictable. Our combat AI can't calculate their movements because they're based on emotional bonds rather than tactical protocols." Through the chaos, Gray received a transmission from Commander Smith. The human's face appeared on screen, and beside him sat a large German Shepherd in combat armor, both looking remarkably calm. "Admiral," Smith said, scratching his dog's ears through a special port in the suit, "I'm offering you a chance to surrender. Rex here has already disabled your main weapons, and the rest of our teams are in position throughout your fleet." Gray watched as his mighty armada, the pride of the Alliance, was systematically taken apart by creatures that humans kept in their homes. Dogs coordinated complex tactical maneuvers, cats conducted stealth operations, birds executed precision strikes, and through it all, he could see the one thing his species had never understood: the power of the bond between humans and their animal companions. "Perhaps," Gray said slowly, watching a team of Labrador retrievers rescue Alliance crew members from a damaged ship, "we should have paid more attention to why humans keep pets in the first place." The victory that had seemed so certain was slipping away, undone not by superior technology or numbers, but by the simple, unshakable love between humans and their animal friends. In the emergency command center of the Star Vanquisher, Admiral Gray and his top scientists studied the battle footage with growing amazement. The main screen showed a small Jack Russell Terrier in combat armor, working with its human partner to disable an Alliance cruiser's engines. "Look at their brain patterns, Dr. Miller," The lead Alliance scientist pointed to the neural scans. The human and dog aren't just communicating. They're thinking as one. Their neural patterns are synchronized. On another screen, a Persian cat slipped through a ship's security grid, its stealth suit making it nearly invisible. The cat's movements weren't just skilled. They showed clear understanding of its mission. Security cameras caught the moment it reunited with its handler, rubbing against their leg even in the middle of combat. It's not the technology, Miller continued, his scaled hands moving rapidly over the data displays. The combat suits are impressive, but basic. It's the bond itself that makes them unstoppable. Gray watched as a team of border collies herded captured Alliance soldiers into secure areas. The dogs worked with incredible intelligence, adapting to each situation without direct orders. More remarkably, they did it while wagging their tails, clearly enjoying the work. "Show me the historical data," Gray ordered. The screens filled with images from Earth's past, ancient cave paintings of humans hunting with wolves, Egyptian hieroglyphs showing cats in temples, old photographs of dogs in human wars. Thousands of years of coevolution, Miller explained. While we saw humans keeping pets as a sign of weakness, they were actually creating perfect partners. Each species brings different strengths. Dogs with their loyalty and teamwork, cats with their stealth and independence, birds with their aerial skills, and humans gave them purpose and love. A new alert flashed on the screen. A golden retriever in medical armor had just rescued an entire Alliance crew from their damaged ship. The dog had somehow known which crew members to save first, understanding triage without any human direction. "Sir," Lieutenant Reed called from his station, "we've intercepted some of their neural link data. You need to see this." The main screen displayed the neural connection between a human handler and their chocolate Labrador. The data streams showed not just commands and responses, but a deep emotional bond. The dog understood complex tactics because it wanted to help its human. The human trusted the dog completely because of years of companionship. "They're not soldiers following orders," Miller said quietly. "They're families protecting each other." Gray remembered something from the initial invasion reports. The civilian evacuation. When we attacked their colonies, the humans delayed their retreats to save their pets. We thought it was foolish sentimentality. It was preparation, Miller corrected. They were protecting their greatest weapon, the bond itself. Through the command center's window, Gray watched as a team of Samoyeds in Arctic combat gear created a defensive perimeter around a captured Alliance ship. The dogs moved with military precision, but still found time to play in zero gravity between maneuvers. "Each pet serves according to its nature," Miller continued, showing more footage. "Look, retrievers doing search and rescue, shepherds coordinating attacks, terriers breaching hulls, cats conducting stealth operations. They're not just following training. They're doing what they love with the ones they love." A final piece of footage showed Commander Smith and his German shepherd, Rex, planning a tactical assault. The neural link data revealed that they weren't just sharing information. They were sharing feelings. Trust, loyalty, determination, and above all, a deep, unshakable love. "We thought keeping pets made them weak," Gray said, watching the footage loop again. "But every moment they spent caring for these animals, playing with them, loving them, they were building an army that fights not from duty or programming, but from the heart." Miller nodded solemnly. "Sir, we can't beat this. Not with technology, not with numbers. How do you fight an enemy that has turned thousands of years of friendship into the perfect warfare?" As if to emphasize the point, a small corgi in battle armor floated past the window, taking a moment from its mission to do a playful zero-gravity spin. Even in the midst of war, the pure joy of the human-pet bond shone through. Inside the Alliance's mobile research lab, scientists worked frantically to understand their enemy. Holographic displays showed hundreds of different pets in combat suits, each working perfectly with their human partners. Admiral Gray stood among them, watching as another attempt to counter the human pet teams failed. "It's useless. Dr. Miller announced, throwing down his datapad. We tried creating our own neural links with captured Earth animals. The creatures just sleep or try to escape. On a nearby screen, a cat in an Alliance test chamber ignored all commands and groomed itself. There must be something we're missing, Gray insisted. Some technology, some training method. Look at this, another scientist interrupted. The main screen showed a young Alliance soldier trying to connect with a golden retriever through their copied neural link technology. The dog simply sat there, tail still, eyes uninterested. Then the screen split, showing the same dog reuniting with its human partner. The change was immediate, tail wagging, eyes bright, body language completely transformed. The neural link between them lit up with activity. That's the key, Miller said. We can copy their technology, but we can't copy the bond. These animals aren't fighting because of training or neural links. They're fighting for love. Gray watched more footage from Earth's surface. Families playing with their pets in parks. Children growing up alongside puppies and kittens. Elderly humans sharing their homes with loyal companions. How long has this been going on? At least 15,000 years, Miller replied. Humans didn't just tame these animals. They evolved together. Each species changed to better understand and help the other. A new alert flashed across the screens. Another Alliance battleship had fallen to a team of border collies working with their handlers. The dogs had somehow adapted their natural herding instincts to zero-gravity combat, coordinating complex tactical maneuvers as if they were guiding sheep. Show me their training facilities, Gray ordered. The display changed to show Earth's massive polar bases. Inside, humans and pets trained together in simulated space environments. But it wasn't just military training. There were play areas, rest zones, and spaces for human-pet bonding. They never stopped being pets, Miller realized, watching a German shepherd remove its combat armor and play fetch with its handler. The military training was built on top of the existing relationship, not in place of it. In another video, a squad of cats in stealth suits practiced infiltration techniques. They moved with perfect precision, but also stopped for head scratches from their handlers between exercises. The cats weren't following orders. They were playing an advanced version of their natural hunting games. Sir, Lieutenant Reed called from his station. We've intercepted more neural link data. It's like nothing we've ever seen. The main screen filled with brainwave patterns from human-pet teams in combat. The neural links weren't just transmitting commands. They were sharing emotions, memories, and absolute trust. Each animal understood their mission because they understood their humans' desires and hopes. We mapped their commands, a junior scientist reported. But look, most of their neural communication isn't tactical at all. It's encouragement, praise, love. Gray watched as a team of huskies breached another Alliance ship. The dogs moved with military precision, but their neural links blazed with joy and excitement. They weren't soldiers following orders. They were playing an elaborate game with their best friends. We thought humans were weak because they needed companionship, Gray said slowly, because they shared their homes with lesser creatures. But all this time, Miller finished, they were building something we couldn't understand. Our logical minds saw pets as a waste of resources. We never imagined that love could be the ultimate weapon. On the screens around them, humanity's pet army continued their unstoppable advance. Each animal fought with the skill of a trained soldier and the pure joy of a beloved companion. The Alliance's mighty fleet was being dismantled by creatures that humans considered family. And in that moment, Gray understood that the Alliance had lost this war long before the first shot was fired. They had lost it the moment they dismissed the power of the human heart. Admiral Gray stood before the Alliance Council, his formal uniform still showing scorch marks from the battle. The great council chamber, with its towering crystalline walls, felt colder than usual as he prepared to deliver his final report on the Earth campaign. Honorable Council, he began, his voice steady despite his exhaustion. I come before you to report not just a military defeat, but a fundamental error in our understanding of civilization itself. The main display activated, showing footage from their last battle. A team of dogs in combat armor worked together to disable an Alliance dreadnought, while cats in stealth suits infiltrated command centers. Birds in flight suits conducted precision strikes, and smaller pets in specialized gear sabotaged ship systems. We believed ourselves superior, Gray continued. We saw the humans' emotional attachments as weakness. Their habit of keeping pets seemed primitive, a waste of resources. He paused, watching as the footage showed a rescued Alliance crew being guided to safety by a gentle Saint Bernard in medical armor. We were wrong. The council chambers filled with murmurs. On the display, more footage played. Human children growing up alongside puppies, elderly humans sharing quiet moments with cats, families playing with their pets in parks. These weren't just preparation for war, Gray explained. These were moments of something we had forgotten. The power of connecting with other species. Humans didn't just tame these animals. They formed bonds with them, evolved with them, learned from them. New footage showed the aftermath of the battle. Alliance prisoners being treated by medical teams that included both humans and dogs. Cats in stealth suits helping repair damaged systems. Birds in flight suits patrolling peacefully alongside their former enemies. The humans are offering peace, Gray announced. Not just peace, but an opportunity. They want to share their understanding of interspecies cooperation. Their commander told me something remarkable. They see their relationship with pets as preparation for meeting other intelligent life. The council leader leaned forward. You mean they developed these bonds as a military strategy? No, Gray replied, shaking his head. That's what we thought at first. But it's the opposite. They learned warfare from love. Every pet fighting in their army is there because they want to be, because they love their humans and want to protect them. He brought up one final piece of footage. Commander Smith and his German Shepherd, Rex, removing their combat gear after the battle. The dog immediately tackled his human friend, tail wagging as they played together like any pet and owner. Look at their neural link data, Gray pointed out. Even in that playful moment, their bond is as strong as during combat. Because the combat was never the point. The point was the relationship itself. What are you suggesting, Admiral? Another council member asked. I am suggesting that we have defined advancement too narrowly. We thought pure logic and technological progress were the marks of civilization. But the humans showed us something else. The power of emotional bonds between species. Gray straightened his uniform. I recommend not only accepting their peace offer but establishing a new alliance initiative. We should learn from them, not just their combat techniques, but their capacity for forming bonds with other species. It may be crucial for our future among the stars. The chamber filled with discussion. On the screens, more footage played. Human pet teams helping rebuild damaged stations. Alliance crews learning to interact with Earth's animals, the first tentative steps toward understanding each other. One last thing, Gray added. Commander Smith gave me a message for the Council. He said that humanity's greatest strength isn't their technology, or even their bonds with pets. It's their ability to see family not in shape or species, but in the heart. As if to emphasize his point, a small corgi in diplomatic dress uniform trotted into the council chamber, carrying a formal peace treaty in a special holder on its collar. The dog wagged its tail as it approached the council leader, demonstrating the perfect mix of duty and joy that had won the war. The Alliance had sought to conquer Earth. Instead, they had found a lesson that would change their civilization forever. That true strength lies not in standing alone, but in the bonds we forge with others.